How's it going, everybody? I'm Solus44. This is MC Eternal 2, and a special edition that's brought out some questions that were asked, and this video in particular is for a YouTube comment that I got from KeldZZZ. Kelds, I believe would be how you'd say it. And the question was, how do you break down the Tinker's parts? And I decided to go ahead and show that step by step, at least the way I know how to do it. Now, I don't know everything about the Tinkers that's in MC Eternal 2 versus other MC Eternal 2 mod pack stuff, because in MC Eternal 2, Tinkers is different in every pack, just put it that way. So it has a lot of different things. But the basics for how it works, I've kind of got. So I'm going to go ahead and go through that with you. And pardon the outfit, but I am offline. The server Minecraft's down right now, so I can't be online. So my outfit looks. I figured it'd be interesting to go ahead and put on the respirator and all the cool stuff from the. I believe this is the suit from Alex's Caves, but I got it because I needed something to cover up my ugly mug, and I don't look like I'm supposed to look because my regular character is missing all the stuff that normally would come when you're online that's loaded online. I'm in a creative world, specially just designed, flattened out a spot, put it in peaceful, just so that we could do this video. All right, so the basics for Tinkers is to make your smeltery. By now, that should be a gimme. But if you don't know how to do it, you're going to make sear bricks or sear stone, and you're going to do that with grout. And to make grout, you'd use sand, gravel, and clay. You can use blocks to make 8 instead of just 2. It's really that simple. You smelt it down. You can cook it in a furnace when you first get going, and then you can turn it into bricks. You have to make sure that, I mean, the edges of the smeltery don't actually have to be there. It doesn't have to be square. It can be like this. It still functions just fine, but it will. It doesn't look as good to me, so I'm gonna leave mine fully functioning. Now, then you have to give it some sort of fuel inside of a fuel tank. I'm using molten antimatter. Now, that's not going to be available in every mod pack. Your general fuel is going to start off with lava, and you can progress your way up to the different levels of heat that's needed for different materials, depending on the mod pack you're playing. In this mod pack, I believe molten antimatter is actually the hottest thing that there is, with the temperature of 32,768 degrees. But ionized, I believe it's ionized. Ionized lava is what you're going to use. Yes, ionized lava is what you're actually going to use to create the liquid antimatter. So you're going to melt liquid antimatter in a smeltery, or I think it might work in the foundry. I don't know which one's which for melting it down, but I'm pretty sure you can do it in a smeltery. And that's going to get you your liquid antimatter. That's what you're going to use to do your final whatever you're going to do. Now, so to get on with it, you're going to have your drains that allow you to pour chemicals or whatever you've got in here, potions, etc., down onto your casting table and casting basin. No big deal. Excuse this right here. This is an experiment. I'll explain that at the end. Your next thing you're going to make is the crafting station, which allows you to connect to any one of these Tinker's items that are in here. You got your crafting station, your part builder, your Tinker station, your modifier work table, your cast chest, and your parts chest, and then finally your anvil. All of this right here is necessary if you want to build the more advanced items in Tinker's construct. If you right click on the crafting station, you can then tab over to all the different parts of whatever you're working for, whatever you're getting to. And today for Kelds, I wanted to show you how I use the parts builder to take apart my parts from my various different builds. Now, there is a thing that's going to come up, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And that is that once you modify an item from Tinker's and you add something to it, you're going to have to remove that before you take it apart. I'll show an example of that in a minute. So in the game, I actually managed, in my playthrough, I've actually managed to get an Ice Dragon Steel It wasn't living rock war pickaxe, but it was an ice dragon steel living rock something, right? Or ice dragon steel something something. So it's made of different parts. Now to take it apart, instead of placing your normally when you do this, you would place your patterns on the left hand side and then your materials in here inside the little ingot looking piece, right? And you would pick whatever part you wanted to make. You could use sand as well. And what'll happen then is you create your different kinds of casts, right? So you could start off by making any one of the casts that's available to you from whatever parts that you have. I don't think sponge is a part, is it? No, sponge isn't a part. But I wanted to show that anyway so that I can show you what can happen. Actually, I think. No. Anyhow, uh, with this one right here, you get to choose your part. Then you would place in a material in this side, and then whatever material is, it will come off a little piece of that, whatever it is. You can use stone, iron, stone, wood. It depends on the pack that you're playing, what they consider a material. Some of the materials have to be cast. Some of the materials you can just make them. And if you look at the items, they'll show. Oh, here's a part. I don't know if it'll let me. There we go. So that lets you make your first part. This is a disintegrate crystal tool binding. So now I've got that part. And if I wanted to make the collar, I can make that. So it's going to give you your options of what you want to be able to build with it. Same thing goes with the resonant crystal. I'm just experimenting with these because I need to know exactly. Now the resonant crystal gives you a lot more options. So it looks like you're able to build a broad axe with it. You're able to build your armor pieces, your shield cores, etc. So to take apart your materials from your item, you place it like this with some blank patterns, and it's going to give you your list of your pieces that you want to be able to take off. In my case, what happened to me was I had a villager created village in where my main base was, which it's up to you where you want to put yours. If you do, I did that using the vampirism mod. Um, I constructed the totem from vampirism, and it made villagers come from nowhere. They filled up my area, and then I was constantly being bombarded by vampire raids. And whenever you win a vampire raid, if you have a lot of, I think they're smith. I think it's the smithing one, the smithing villager. If you have a bunch of villagers with jobs like fisherman, farmer, tools, all the different things, eventually they're going to start dropping a bunch of rewards for you. And I got one of these, but it wasn't, it was an ice dragon steel. So I was like, how do I get, that is like the best to start off with, I swear. So you click on the one you want. Now it's going to be really cool because sometimes, let's say I want the bowstring and I really also want the living bow, or let's say I really want the pickaxe head. It's also there's a chance that it's going to give you one of the other two parts that's available inside that one material. So you can pull that out. And as you look, it did also give me the bow limb. So I got both the ice dragon steel pickaxe head, and I also got the bow limb. I hope that clears up that part for you guys. Maybe you're confused. I hopefully that clears up what you can do, because you can do that with any piece. And so let's say I want just the blade from this one, or how about I want the tough tool handle? Boom. I managed to get both the small blade and I got the tough tool handle. And then you can take these parts, you can throw them inside your smeltery if it's got the temperature and or the foundry, and it's got the temperature available through the melting part. It can actually, you can turn it into whatever shape you want it to be. You could even, the problem you're going to run into, and this is something that I didn't do because I said, you know what, I want the ingots, and I just crafted the dragon steel. I just used this to actually just craft the actual sword. If you create a tinker's tool doing this method and you don't have enough of the material, you could very well run into the problem of not being able to repair it because you won't be able to make enough materials to repair the item that you have. So you need enough to be able to do a repair kit, or eventually it's going to break unless you have a way of making it so it doesn't break. That's up to you. So, like for instance, I got a few items on here. One of them is an ionized antimatter ionized cannon. Now, all of the stuff in the creative mode is going to be made of a single material, pretty much. I mean, this one's all iridium. This one is all antimatter. This one's all antimatter. But you can mix and match your parts. Like this one's all Osglow glass pickaxe head. And so let's say I want the binding for the materials. I actually, it gave me both the handle and the binding. And this is a densium, which is really powerful but really slow. And on that one, I want the handle. Well, it looks like it gave me the tool binding and the handle. Now, here's the thing. This one is filled with, if you're wondering why it looks the way it does, it's filled with, at the moment, it's filled with antimatter. So its power multiplier is really high. And the same thing goes with my ionized cannon. I was just testing them out to see, but you can fill them with different materials. And the different materials for the different packs is going to, well, depend upon the pack. And if you want to see what it does, there it is. And I'm in creative, so it doesn't use up the molten antimatter. Now, with the electron tuner, it actually uses energy. And if you look here, you can see the power multiplier and the maximum energy amount. Since it's made from antimatter, it's just one of the strongest you can get in this pack. But every pack's going to have its different materials. And it's basically just a weapon. Now, it doesn't usually look like this until you charge it up, and you can charge them up inside of an atom exchanger. You right-click it, you give it some energy. I have a creative space here, a little creative energy cube. Gives it energy, but I'm in creative. And I think there's some mobs over here. I can show you guys what will happen. This is going to be quite a bit of overkill. The range on it's pretty good. This manipulator doesn't hurt enemies, but it does have a secondary function. If you right-click on it, you'll see it on the bottom right here of the screen. You'll say interaction mode single, or right-click AoE 3x3. So now it's set in 3x3. It does a 3x3 mining. So if you're interested in mining with it, that's a cool way of going it. Now, the antimatter ionized cannon takes a very, very, very long time to charge. I'm still holding right click. There it goes. It's charging. Now it's ready. Sorry. It disintegrated a little flying, whatever it was. Now, depending on the things that you put on these, and then the mix matching of the parts, depends. It gives you various different abilities, and it's going to vary depending upon your mod pack. So you get to pick and mix and choose and rearrange your parts to get the effects that you want. But you notice that I can break these down, just like I was explaining with the other basic tools. You can do that with these as well. So let's say I wanted just a particle cannon, I could want the pickaxe head that's needed, which is interesting. Or let's say the tough tool handle, and it gave me both the iridium particle container and the iridium tough tool handle, both of which I could use to make a different one. But let's say you did something like this. Oh yeah, this is the basic tinker station that you get that you can make out of wood. And it makes the basic tools and the basic armor and allows you to make your first ring. It also allows you to modify your stuff to the basic level, but you're going to want to get the workstation, and you're definitely going to want to get the anvil, because with the anvil you can make all the really cool stuff, like of course the katanas, the hammers, and the sickles, and the different tools that do various different things depending on what your need is. But let's say I already upgraded it. I'm gonna say I want to upgrade this cool looking laser sword, the antimatter electron tuner, and I want to be able to give it more something. So if you add an apple to it, it now has, that was my first thing, it now has a modification. And a lot of problems I think people are going to run into, because I ran into it too, is once I started modifying it, well, I got to actually add a modifier to it. What's a good modifier? You can add this to it as well. And if you look right here, it'll say on the right hand side, it'll tell you what your modifiers are and the different abilities that it gives you. Since I added the golden apple, it's now gilded, and I also added the music disc. It is now harmonious, which gives it more uh, what do you call them? Bonus upgrades. So instead of having the base upgrades, it now has 8 instead of, I think it would be 6. So that's going to give me the ability to add different things to it. And if you hit the U button on it, you can see the different abilities and things that you can add to it. Like with this, I can add the ability to combustion generator, where the actual energy it uses is generated by coal or something that's inside your inventory. How all that works for sure, I'm not 100%, but since it's really easy to get, I'm just going to go ahead and see. All right, so seared heater. We're going to grab ourselves a seared heater. There's a seared heater. And I would come over here, and we're going to tell it, all right, one of those and one of those. And now it's going to have, if you look on the right-hand side, energy generation, energy remaining, etc. So now it's going to try and burn up stuff that's in my inventory for energy when it needs it. And it's letting me, oh, a tool cannot be, there it goes. It says, a tool cannot be recycled if it contains any upgrades or abilities. Those must be removed first. So I can't pull any of these parts out. It's not letting me. So if you get one that's pre-done, it's already got something in it because you found it in a chest or you killed a creature that had something cool and it won't let you recycle it. You actually can remove those. And that's what it's talking about. It says, hey, remove those. Come over to your modifier workstation here. And you're going to want to use, I think it's a wet sponge. And if you put a wet sponge, you can see the different things that are attached to it right now. Right? So you have your gilded, your harmonious, and your combustion generator. If you click on it, it'll actually just remove that for you. And then it dries out the sponge. Right? So then you can come back over to your part builder, place your piece in there. Oh, it's still got some parts I got to remove. So I can go ahead and come over to the modification station. And we're going to go ahead and remove that. And we're going to remove that. So you got to have wet sponges. Take your part now. And now it has no problem with me taking it apart and saying, I want this. And in this case, I managed to get an antimatter tough collar and the antimatter flux core so that I can use them for another part. I don't really want to go into all of the stuff that you can do as far as what, like this resonant crystal can be added to do different things. Because there's so much that you cover. I could take a whole series of just going through all these different things, and it's not going to help much because people really need to know what they want for their parts, and hopefully this covers a little bit of what you're asking about, and covers kind of sort of what you needed to do to get some advantage when it comes to tinkers, because it can get really complicated when you start dealing with all these modifiers. I can't tell you how many there are. Let's see if I can make it stop. Oops, there we go. So if you come over here to the modifier workstation, you can see all the abilities that can be extracted. And then here's all the modifiers that you can do. There's 76 pages, and there's two, except for the last page, of every kind. So there's 140 some different things you can do, and you'll have to go through. All I did was hover over the item, hit the U button, click on modifiers tab, and you should be able to see all the different things. And if you look right here, it tells you, it says modifiers requiring 1 ability slot to apply. If you run out of ability slots, you're going to have to add more to it. You can add more to it by doing things like gilded. Trades an ability slot for 2 upgrade slots. So you lose an ability slot, but you gain 2 upgrade slots. I hope that makes sense. I hope that helped. If there's any other questions you guys have for Tinkers, I will be more than happy to take a look. As far as the greatest, most powerful, all-powerful items, to be honest with you, I can't tell you that. I do know for me, my Osglow Glass Cleaver does hundreds of damage, and it's not even in tier stuff. and it has momentum on it from a mini-elium because I have one part of it that is actually mini-elium, and what that means is every successful swing that attacks somebody, the amount goes up and up and up. So there is some very high combos that you can do with maybe some lasers, etc. And you're interrupting me. That's going to cost you 1 llama. Yeah. As you can tell, it does some pretty good damage. And that's just the well, this is a pretty high level stuff. Ionized antimatter is not a joke. So anyway, I hope that helped. I know it's a short video. I just wanted to go ahead and cover some of the basics. If there's any more questions on what I've got, let me know. I feel free to comment question below. As far as my single player goes, I am really far into the pack already, and I should have been done with mid-tier by the time this video shows. I am only you're only going to get to see where I'm halfway through. Um, I have defeated the dragon. It is possible, and I have got a pretty good set of stuff going on. It's actually to the point where I'm starting to finish up the pack. So I've been through quite a bit. So if you have questions about the pack, I can answer direct questions about just MC Eternal 2 as well. So till next time, take care. Bye bye.